This is Matt Wellendorf and Maxime Straley, and we talked about the identity of the characters in Luigi Pirandello's 6 Characters in Search of an Author.
A short biography of Luigi Pirandello. He was a 19th and 20th century novelist, most famous for his plays, and he won the Nobel Prize in Literature because he could turn the psychological analysis into good theater.
On page 62, the father, talking to the director, says, "A character really has his own life, marked with his own characteristics, by virtue of which he is always someone. Whereas a man, I'm not speaking of you now, a man can be no one." We disagree with this because although the characters have an identity, they do not have the freedom to choose what they want, and therefore they can only be one single character. The ability to change who we are and what we want to be makes men and women different from the characters.
The father continues by saying, when a character is born, he at once acquires such an independence even of his own author. The whole world can imagine him in innumerable situations other than those the author thought to place him in. At times he acquires a meaning that the author never dreamt of giving him. Because we can imagine the character in any situation, this makes the character static. This makes the characters not independent because their decisions require on how they were written.
On page 61, Pirandello explores the essential element to existentialism, choices and freedom. Pirandello, being an existentialist, believes that discrete, willful acts of choice create the only meaning that exists in an otherwise meaningless universe. This is reflected in 6 characters because in an exchange between the father and the director, the father says that his reality does not change. It is not changed because his reality is already fixed because he is a character. This fixed reality renders the characters non-independent, giving them truly no meaning in the universe. The actors and director can make choices and therefore change their reality, while the characters cannot. They can only play out the play. It is interesting how the father contradicts himself. Previously, the father said that a character has his own life, marked with his own characteristics, and therefore a man can be no one. But just a page later, the father says that their reality does not change, and that the man can change his. The father seems to be struggling with the fact that he does not have much freedom, even though he wants to believe that he does.
If the characters were to wear masks, it would only reinforce their one-dimensionality as non-independent, non-choosing characters which are separate from the actors who are dynamic and exist in the universe with meaning. The masks can allow the audience to differentiate the characters from normal people. Like in the play with the characters not wearing masks, the director found it difficult to comprehend the static nature of each character, and it would be harder to tell the difference between themselves and the characters. Perfect.
Pirandello explores his existentialist beliefs by juxtaposing the freedom of the actors and director with the lack of freedom that the characters have.
Jean-Paul Sartre says that we are our choices, and the characters with the lack of choices lack the ability to exist.